My name is Staff Sergeant Elena Torres. And the day Captain Daniel Reeves tried to break my arm in front of 300 soldiers was the day he finally made his biggest mistake. He thought the crowd would protect him. He thought his rank would silence me. And he thought the blood on my sleeve would make me look weak. Instead, it became the first piece of evidence that destroyed him. It happened at Fort Calder, a training base in the Arizona desert. The Army and Navy were holding a joint combat demonstration for senior officers. Cameras were everywhere. The bleachers were full. An American flag snapped above the field, while the sun burned through our uniforms. I had been chosen to demonstrate a defensive move with Captain Reeves. We had practiced it twice. He was supposed to grab my wrist. I was supposed to turn, step behind him, and guide him safely to the ground. But when he grabbed me, his grip changed. He twisted hard enough to tear the skin around my wrist. Then he leaned close and whispered, "You should have kept your mouth shut." That was when I knew it was not a training mistake. Reeves drove his shoulder into me. I lost my balance, but I did not fall. I used the exact move we had practiced, turned under his arm, and put him face down in the dirt. The crowd went silent. Rear Admiral Thomas Briggs stood beside the field with his hand frozen in a salute. Behind him, soldiers stared as Reeves screamed and reached for me with his free hand. I held him down for 2 seconds. No more. Then I released him and stepped back. Reeves jumped up and shouted that I had attacked a superior officer. I looked at my bleeding wrist and said, "Sir, I followed the demonstration plan. A Briggs ordered military police to escort us both away." By sunset, I had been suspended from duty. That was the betrayal. Not Reeves attacking me. I had expected something from him eventually. The betrayal was Colonel Warren Hale signing the suspension order. Hale had been my commander for 4 years. He had recommended me for promotion. He had once told my mother that I was one of the finest soldiers under his command. But now, he would not even look me in the eye. "Until the investigation is complete," he said. "You will surrender your access badge and remain off base." I placed my badge on his desk. You know why Reeves did this? Hale's jaw tightened. 3 weeks earlier, I had found missing medical supplies in our inventory. Trauma kits, field monitors, and expensive medication had disappeared. The records said they were destroyed after a warehouse flood. There had been no flood. Captain Reeves had approved every disposal form. I reported it to Hale. He promised to investigate quietly. 2 days later, someone broke into my office. Nothing valuable was stolen, but my notes were gone. Then came the demonstration. "Go home, Elena," Hale said. "Let the system work." I leaned closer. "Is the system working for me, Colonel, or for them?" He said nothing. I left Fort Calder with a bandage around my wrist and anger burning hotter than the desert road. At home, I found an envelope under my apartment door. There was no name on it. Inside was a photograph of a white delivery truck behind the supposedly flooded warehouse. The picture had been taken at 2 a.m. Written on the back were 6 words. "THESUPER left TBS." I checked the image carefully. The truck's license plate was visible, but one number was covered in dust. On the loading dock stood Captain Reeves. Beside him was a second man whose face was hidden. Someone wanted me to continue digging. Or someone wanted to lead me into a trap. I called the one person I still trusted, retired Chief Warrant Officer Marcus Cole. Marcus had managed logistics at Fort Calder before leaving the Army. He had taught me that numbers never lie, but people often teach numbers how to lie for them. We met at a diner outside Tosin. He studied the photograph, then pointed to a small symbol on the truck door. "Private disaster, relief contractor," he said. Sunridge response. Why would they collect Army medical equipment at 2 a.m? Marcus looked at me. They wouldn't. Not legally. He searched public shipping records and found that Sunridge had sold emergency supplies to rural counties in 3 states. The serial numbers were not listed, but the dates matched the disappearances at Fort Calder. Someone was stealing government equipment, selling it through a private company, and charging taxpayers a second time. The next morning, I received a message from an unknown number. Stio Pilo Kiji. RT next to fellow, well, I'll be parment. I showed it to Marcus. We'll go to federal investigators now, he said. With one photograph and a threat from an unknown number. Reeves will call it revenge from a suspended soldier. Then what do you want? Proof he cannot explain. We found it in the last place Reeves expected. Every field monitor carried a hidden maintenance record. Whenever technicians tested one, its serial number, location, and time were uploaded to the manufacturer's service system. Reeves had changed Army inventory files, but he could not change an outside company's records. Marcus contacted a former technician. She confirmed that 12 supposedly destroyed monitors had been serviced 2 weeks earlier at a Sunridge warehouse in Nevada. We finally had a trail. Then Colonel Hale called me. His voice was low. Meet me tonight. Come alone, I should have refused. Instead, I chose a crowded coffee shop and told Marcus where I would be. Hale arrived wearing civilian clothes. He looked older than he had 3 days earlier. Reeves is not acting alone, he said. Sunridge pays him, but someone higher protects the contracts. Who? Hale looked toward the window. Admiral Briggs. The name hit me harder than Reeves's attack. Briggs supervised the joint procurement program. He was also the officer who had stood saluting while Reeves tried to injure me. Why did you suspend me? I asked. Because Briggs demanded your arrest. Suspension got you off base before he could plant evidence in your office. You could have told me. My phone is monitored. Hale slid a small flash drive across the table. These are payment records. I copied them before Briggs's people locked me out. I did not touch it. Were you involved? His eyes filled with shame. I signed the disposal reports. Reeves told me the supplies were damaged and the paperwork was routine. When I discovered the truth, Briggs threatened my son's career. I stayed quiet. There it was. The answer I had not wanted. Hale had tried to protect me, but only after protecting himself. Silence is not innocence, I said. I know. He pushed the drive closer. That is why I am giving you this. A black SUV stopped outside. Hale saw it and went pale. Leave through the kitchen. 2 men stepped onto the sidewalk. I took the drive, walked through the kitchen, and exited behind the building. Marcus was waiting in his pickup. We left before the men reached the back door. 10 minutes later, Hale texted me one word. Ron. Then his phone went dead. The flash drive contained invoices, bank transfers, and emails linking Reeves to Sunridge. But Briggs's name did not appear anywhere. He had been careful. Still. One folder held a schedule for another midnight pickup at Fort Calder. It was happening the following night. Marcus wanted to contact the Army Criminal Investigation Division immediately. I agreed, but I also sent copies to a federal inspector general and a reporter with instructions to publish if anything happened to us. My revenge would not be a private act. It would be the truth, released where no rank could bury it. Investigators placed cameras around the warehouse and fitted me with a recorder. Officially, I was still suspended. Unofficially, I was the only person Reeves might speak freely to because he believed I was frightened and alone. I sent him a message saying I had the payment files and wanted money to disappear. He answered within 1 minute. Warhos, Tushrai. Dinai Koam. At 11:58, I walked into the warehouse with the flash drive in my pocket. Reeves stood beside the white truck. Admiral Briggs was with him. That was the proof we needed. Briggs smiled. Sergeant Torres. Ambition can be such an ugly thing. So can theft. Sir. He offered me an envelope filled with cash. I held it but did not open it. You will sign a statement admitting you falsified the original complaint, he said. Then you will resign. And Colonel Hale. Reeves laughed. He finally learned to cooperate. Is he alive? Briggs's smile disappeared. That depends on you. I needed him to say more. You ordered Reeves to attack me at the demonstration. I ordered him to remind you of your position, Briggs said. He became enthusiastic. Reeves stepped toward me. Give me the drive. I reached into my pocket slowly. He grabbed my injured wrist, the same wrist he had twisted on the training field. Still weak, he whispered. I looked him in the eye. No. Just patient. I turned under his arm and used the same defensive move again. This time, I guided him onto a stack of empty cardboard boxes. He landed without serious injury, but his pride did not survive. The warehouse doors opened. Federal agents and military investigators rushed inside. Briggs froze. Reeves tried to run, slipped on one of the boxes, and fell at the agent's feet. I handed over the envelope, the recorder, and the drive. Colonel Hale was found alive in a motel room, guarded by 2 Sunridge employees. He later pleaded guilty to signing false reports and testified against Briggs and Reeves. The investigation uncovered more than $8 million in stolen equipment. Briggs lost his rank and his freedom. Reeves was convicted of assault, conspiracy, theft, and obstruction. Sunridge's executives went to prison too. Months later, the Army cleared my name. I returned to Fort Calder for a ceremony on the same field where Reeves had attacked me. This time, nobody shouted. My mother sat in the front row. Marcus stood beside her. Colonel Hale was not there. He had accepted responsibility, and I respected that, but forgiveness was something I would give in my own time. When they pinned the new rank on my uniform, I looked toward the flag above the field. I did not feel victorious because powerful men had fallen. I felt victorious because the people they had stolen from would receive replacement equipment, and because the next soldier who reported wrongdoing might be believed sooner than I was. People sometimes ask if putting Reeves in the dirt was my revenge. It was not. My revenge was standing tall while the truth forced every guilty man to kneel. And that is what they never understood. They could bruise my body, threaten my career, and take the badge from my hand. But the one thing they could never take was the courage that made me wear it.